How they do, world? It's your girl Majestic. I'm loving life and I'm living life to the fullest, also known as Spiritual 12. Life is beautiful, it's balance, it's rewarding, it's communication, it's all knowing, it's love, it's just, it's masculine, it's feminine. Life is just life. Now, I hopped on here today because I wanted to express and explain what Spirit laid on my heart. And today, the message is going to be about why God and Satan is at war. Now, I want to explain how the war has taken place and it's been going on for a long time. This war is over your livelihood. Okay? There are times where you are in the midst of choosing. Okay? And a lot of times, this is where the war is. When you are choosing, should I or should I not? For instance, on my last video, I spoke on how sometimes with masculinity, I have to choose myself or, the world he projects and that he wants. Problem is that this world already has an evolutionary purpose. And mankind want us to follow some illusion in their minds that isn't real. And so that's really Satan is the illusion of the mind that debunks reality. It debunks authenticity. Many people do not understand that that is a war happening. You see, when you debunk your own authenticity inside of you, what usually happens is the enemy begins to rule. That's why it's important for me to protect my authenticity. It's important for me to represent authenticity because I know that if I'm not representing it, something else is being represented. And see, that is the war. Everybody wonders, like, why this world is so evil. But most people do not battle at the battlefield. Most people do not fight in this war. Most people conform. Most people, deny their self. They do not stand up for their self. As you are authentic, you want to remain in that core of you. And for me, the more I remained in the core of myself, was the more battles I had with life, with people, with peers, with places. I understand now that if I don't represent myself, something else will. I understand now that this is a war between what they call God and Satan. And the only reason Satan is ruling is because nobody fights at the battlefield. And how dare you try? I have an example. I recently bought a vape at a corner store. Well, I get two puffs in and the vape breaks. Juice starts falling out. The lights are like flickering. It's not working. This was like the second or third time that happened at that store. And so I decided to stand up for myself and take the vape back and ask for a new one because I'm basically handing over money to these people and not receiving. And I explained because he was very, offended. And I explained that maybe you guys are selling old vapes, outdated vapes, expired vapes. And he banned me from the store. He told me to get out. And I'm like, me? I go there all the time. And that should be more reason why, he would understand. But instead, his ego like went sky high and he just told me to get out and never come back. All because I stood up for what was right, you see. And so a lot of times we're afraid of getting banned. We're afraid of being shunned. But the problem is that you make your mark when these things occur. You fight in on that battlefield and you choose which God you want to worship. You choose because either you standing up for yourself, that's what it means to worship God, is to worship yourself. FYI. The old Egyptian scripts was to know thyself is to know the creator. And so when you're standing up for yourself is when you're standing up for the creator, when the creator is winning and ruling. But see, there's a reason why they have you afraid to do that, because they're afraid of the true creator. They are afraid, but are you? There's a reason that they do stuff like ban you when you're standing up for yourself, because they want to train you to not stand up for thyself. And to stand up for thyself is to stand up for the creator, which ultimately creates heaven on earth. And this is why there's a war between God and Satan. Because it's you. And you think you have nothing to do with it, but you have everything to do with it. And right now, humanity is really in the devil's hands. Because there are not many who represent themselves. A lot of women, you know, a lot of men want women not to represent themselves. A lot of jobs don't want their workers to represent themselves. And I understand, like, there's organization. I understand that. But there should always be a balance, and there is no balance within this world. There is no balance. And there's a reason for that. Like I said, this is a war. And right now, it's almost as if the enemy is taking over because the war is over your soul. And so I had to personally stop allowing things in my soul that weaken my options. They weaken me from making the right decisions and choices. That's another thing that the enemy plots and has designed. Like the music you listen to, all that weakens your ability to be decisive. The things you watch on TV, it's all designed to weaken your ability. I know celebrities. I understand their agenda. That's why, like, some people like Kurt Cobain is not here anymore. Like Bob Marley and those who dare to stand up for themselves. You see, it's a war going on. And this war is good versus evil. But the good only want to represent themselves. The good is not concerned with following the leader. The good want to express their own uniqueness within their own hearts. To follow the leader cancels out your goodness and your uniqueness. And so the real war of God versus Satan, because people don't think they're a part of this war for some reason. And every time you stand up for yourself, the creator wins just a little bit more. Because that is the war. When you love yourself, when you actually love yourself, okay? You want the best for yourself. There's a war over self-love. When you love yourself, you put no one before you. And that's how we all should be. It's selfish, but in the good way, in the good sense, where you are healing yourself so that you can heal others, so that you can emanate that. So you're putting yourself first so that you can take the time to heal yourself. You guys, a lot of the people love those people who are actually like selfish in the bad way. I noticed how a lot of people, they praise the wrong species, the species, the people that are pretending, the people that are backwards. Like I was explaining the other day how like men or men, they're the destructive Satariel. They want to be a woman because they know the woman is the most powerful species. But they are the destructive womb, the lower feminine. There's a divine feminine and there's a lower feminine. And these males who are lost in homosexuality and pretend to be the woman, they're only giving off the destructive feminine because of the things they do, the choices they make in life. And most people back up or, root for the destructive feminine, but yet they run from the divine feminine. But yet, out of their same mouth, they'll say, like, I'm on God's side. God is my savior. We have to understand that there is hypocrisy because you're living in beliefs. But beliefs doesn't it has nothing to do with your actions. And creators looking at your actions, not your beliefs. Beliefs is air in one ear and out the other. But your actions is what creators looking at to see whose side you're on. So I began to see my actions, even though they were a huge contradiction, before I straightened myself out. And it's just important that we know that our actions is the thing at war. Our actions are on the battlefield. But a lot of times, you guys root for God, but your actions. And I'll make a video on how like there's a spell, a God spell. How your actions match who you're calling on, even though you don't mean to. Because there's a God spell. They know what God means. You just don't. And you equate it in your mind with, that divine masculine. But God is not the divine masculine. But yet you pray into it. And every time you feel that presence, you claim it to be God. But the Romans know exactly who God is. And if you research, God is nothing but a man. If you research the terminology and the English terminology to God, is nothing but a lower force. It's a man. It's flesh. And I can make a video on that too, because it's important that there is an order in your mind. And this is called genocide. When they can change the order of your consciousness, of your mind. There are a lot of terrorists who are speaking against the masculinity and the misogynistic on your planet, the egoism. But in the same breath, they say God's going to get them off when they are God. So you're contradicting yourself. Therefore, you're on that battlefield shooting at your own people. It's like, y'all got to understand how important your minds are and how powerful they are and how they need to be in the right order. It's not. And that's what genocide is. Genocide. Gene. Your genes were made perfect. But genocide is when they change your genes around. They swap your genes. They swap your mind, ultimately swapping your genes because your genes follow your mind. And so if you thinking male is over here and female is over here, then you're backwards and you don't even know how you're backwards, or you don't even know that you're backwards. But you are, and you only speaking, and you're just like, you only speaking and it's going nowhere. Just like when they say good morning. You think in your mind that it mean like, hey, it's a good day. But mourning is the word for like sorrow. So you're contradicting yourself in good morning. It's just a whole contradiction. You're saying, have a bad day, guys. Or we're about to have a bad day. And so you got to put that back in order for you to truly manifest what you are thinking inside. That's why they say, like, they clipped our tongues. Not like physically clipped them, but spiritually clipped them. We're unable to speak what we want, to be able to manifest what we're speaking, because the language is totally backwards. And so I just want to explain that you're on the battlefield, whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not. And everything that you do counts towards whose side you're on and why. You know, a lot of people call on God, 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 come back, God, this, God, that, but they're calling on the wrong power every time. This is what Hitler did. They don't want me talking about this. Every time I get on this topic, something weird happens. But I think it should be known that Creator did not let those people just get killed like that by the Nazis. There was a reason and there was a way that those people were able to do that to those people. Hitler gave them a God to call on. Whatever they did to the Nazis is happening in America. He gave them a God to call on. But the God he gave them to call on was his personal, wingman. And so they think they're calling on Creator to help get me out of this fiery furnace, help me. But whole time they're calling on Hitler's deity, who only wants to help Hitler, who only wants to empower Hitler. So it's not that creator wasn't there or what, but they weren't calling on creators. So creators like, I don't hear nobody calling on me. So, you know, nobody's manifesting me. When I called on the right creator, I began to manifest, and this is why they chase me now. They're after me. They're hoping I don't tell the truth to the world. They're hoping, they're really trying to silence me. But I began to see true miracles. Like racism ain't got nothing on this God. On my creator, I mean. Masculinity ain't got nothing on my creator. They sent me men to try to destroy me. I know it sounds weird, but men were sent in to me. I'm thinking like I met them at the mall or I met them, at the grocery store. But these were men that were stalking me, and then, boom, let's be together. And they sent me men to destroy me, and these men end up loving themselves. That's how my creator worked. These men end up walking in the divine purpose of themselves. That's how my creator worked. And so, it's just important that we get the gene order in order and correctly. It's important that we do that because that's how they got us, is through genocide. And got. Everybody got. Because most people are walking contradictions until they figure it out. And there is a war, and there's been a war for a long time. And the war can be won by our creator if you choose the creator. You guys think you're choosing creator, but you're still on their side. You're still making the goal for them. Every time you call him God, and I'm sorry, but God is not it. Creator as it's both masculine and feminine. It's not just one. It's not just one. And definitely the one doesn't hate females. It doesn't speak down on females. It doesn't, it's not standing alone. And so I just wanted to explain that because you praise a God that stands alone when clearly there is a counterpartner. You praise a God that stands alone, then you wonder why you're not manifesting, you're not making way, you're not doing anything but winning their distractions, winning their money, but you're not really existing through your own sense of uniqueness and creativity. That's what life is about. But hey, if y'all cool, I'm over here doing me. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope you have an amazing day.